Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to my page. If you're new here, hi, my name's Lisa. The kids call me the Smiley Coach, and I create fun self-development tools that make growing up easier. How are you today? Today I wanted to talk to you about emotional dysregulation. How do you know if you're emotionally dysregulated? I posted on here, I've been doing lots of questions and answers. So I've been writing the question and it comes up on that colour background, and then I put a finger going like that, and then I write the answer in the comments. That's a good way of getting around Facebook's limiting my reach on here. Really do appreciate all your likes, shares and comments, because Facebook likes that, and that means that more people get to see my posts, which means that we help more children that need it. So even if you don't think it's for you, please like, share and comment as much as you're able to. So yes, emotional dysregulation. I posted a question on how can I help my child that's on the brink of crying all the time and is getting, knocked off their perch. We're going to see a lot of that right now because we are sitting in fear, and at its worst that can escalate into panic, but also there can just be a low level anxiety that's just bubbling away under the surface. Children who are highly sensitive will pick up on that, and children who are not very emotionally resilient will find that really difficult. So I thought what I'd do today is I'd actually tell you a little bit about myself and how I got into this gig and how I can help you, because I've brought back coaching for the under 10s. So and I'll tell you how you can look at that and how that can help you in a minute, but let's just look at, I'm going to go to the About Me page on my website. If you want to read it, just go to smileyforlife.com/about-2. It's the second About Me page because there's a lot to say. But I'm going to read it to you. I'll just read it to you because it's a nice read. It starts off by saying, finding my voice. Even though I started talking at 10 months, I never imagined that I would become a grown-up who used my voice for good. Pretty, I said, pointing at the lights on the Christmas tree. Curious and spirited, I incessantly asked why, got told off for talking in class, and was severely punished for telling the truth. That's why when I joined the corporate world of marketing, I felt physically sick if I had to speak in meetings or give presentations. I was smart, I knew words had power, but shaped by my experience, I believed that my words upset others and made them leave me. Unable to say what was in my heart. Did I say that my love language is words? I felt bad and lonely. I tried to hold my words in, but they came out angry or bubbled under as general anxiety. So, this is the wild heart child, the spirited child that always asks why, that's incessantly curious, but is highly sensitive and is very tuned in to what's going on around them. I think you'll see that a lot with kids right now. If you're in survival mode, you're looking for danger, you're trying to keep yourself safe. I was just speaking to a mum this morning on the phone. Your kids might regress. They might start talking in baby voices. They might be more clingy. They might come to you for more cuddles. Allow it. Allow it. Don't be afraid that you're creating bad habits and things that you can't undo. They're asking for their needs, emotional needs to be met, and that's how they're expressing them. Just give it to them. Give them what they need. You also need to be mindful of your emotions as well. So obviously a lot of us are emotionally dysregulated at the moment. So just be mindful that if you're emotionally dysregulated, what do you need in order to feel better? It's not a case of my child's upset, so I'm upset. Don't use your child to emotionally regulate you, or my child's okay, so I'm okay. That's not a healthy connection. So if I was you, I would take that to a good therapist. That needs looking at. There's a lack of boundaries there. So empowering with my words. The black sheep of my family, generations of heavy unprocessed trauma stopped with me. Apparently, I'm a #cycle breaker, but I would say I'm a wild heart, a strong-willed, sensitive soul who uses words for good. When I found my voice, it took me 40 years, and I wanted to create safe spaces where children could blossom, feel loved, welcomed, accepted, and comfortable enough to be themselves without shame, blame, or judgment. There's a lot of that going on out there at the moment, isn't there? There's a lot of that going on. Yeah, try that. Try that. Bring it back here. I use my words to connect, heal, inspire, and to support children when they feel lost or confused. I find as many ways to let them know they're okay, just the way they are. So I'm not a therapist and I'm not a counsellor. I have some of those skill sets. I've got high levels of empathy. I'm very intuitive. I call myself an author, creator, intuitive educator, champion of children, and chitter chatterbox. I provide a safe space for children to come along and express themselves, and I teach them emotional resilience. I teach them to get to know themselves better, to have a better relationship with themselves. I teach them how to navigate tricky relationships. I teach them how to bounce back after disappointment. I teach them how to deal with overwhelm and stress. I teach them about all of their feelings. So this page goes on to say, imagine what the world would look like if children were taught creative self-expression, introspection, confident communication, self-compassion and self-care. Like, imagine if you'd grown up with that. What would their future look like if they knew how to trust their gut, believe in themselves, and boldly make decisions that followed the beat of their own heart? It would be good, right? And we need that out there right now. It's chaos. It feels chaotic to me. So brave leap of faith, starting from scratch. In 2009, I left a well-paid job and plunged into the world of self-development, retraining as a life coach. I don't really like calling myself that because life coaches get a bad rap. There's good and bad in every industry. You know, there's good personal trainers, there's good counsellors, there's bad therapists, there's bad teachers, good teachers, but life coaches get a bad rap. I know my limitations. I know what I can and can't do. And always with clients, if we reach a fork in the road or I feel like a client needs something else, I'll always redirect them. So I know my limitations. I won't take on things that aren't my bag. I am trauma informed though, because I've recovered from my own trauma experience. And I think there's some things, if you're a therapist, that you can't learn in a book. If you've walked the path, you can't learn that. You know, my lived experience is probably what helps me help these kids. My curiosity was reignited by the likes of Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer, who literally kept me alive with their words. Permanently wired up to their audios, they drowned out my inner critic and taught me how to think, not what to think. We tell kids how they think, how they feel, what they need. We don't ask them, so they don't get used to thinking for themselves. We overfunction. I overfunction. That's part of being a codependent. If you overfunction, you're robbing your children of the opportunity to learn how to think for themselves. Guilty. Not in my capacity as a coach, but in my personal life. I don't know if you guys have heard of Louise Hay or Wayne Dyer. They are, there's a big publishing house called Hay House. That's kind of what started me off on my road to recovery. Newly qualified, I made house visits. So back in the day, in 2009, I was driving around in my little Polo, my Volkswagen Polo, driving to people's houses. And they were writing me checks out. And I was taking them to my little bank account and cashing them. And some children had been badly bullied, others had learning challenges, and some of them were simply just exhausted by life. It was too stressful. Drawing whilst we talked, and I still do that now because I think that's play for children, and play is how they express themselves. I listened and showed interest in their world. I noticed how they let go of their anger and worry, and they instantly felt better. Their words had new meaning and somebody understood. Next, I started creative confidence workshops, and it wasn't long before the powerful word spread. Have you heard about Smiley? So there was a really lovely place called the Medicine Garden in Cobham. I don't know if you've heard of it. And it was a beautiful open space. It was medicine, nature's medicine. And I hired this room called Make Me Workshop, which is a craft workshop. And I run the secret ingredients of self-confidence, friendship know-how, and get your worries out. Very successful. And then a chance article in the Daily Mail maxed out my diary. So I set up my coaching room, So my coach room was in Weybridge. It was a really small, it was like a little broom cupboard, like Philip Schofield and Gordon Gopher in the broom cupboard. And it was full of crystals and stuffed toys and books and creative goodies, and of course my smiley thought cards. And I had positive words all over the walls and colourful images to help children transform their negative thoughts. But I was getting tired. So about 3 years ago, I was getting quite burnt out. I was seeing sometimes 16 kids a week. Way too many if you're a therapist. That's a full caseload, I think. I think that's too many. I don't know how teachers cope with 30 kids in a classroom. I think we need to get the emotional safety piece right in the classroom. I don't think anyone can learn without that. So that's probably what makes it harder for teachers, because they're not trauma informed and they don't know how to create that environment. I mean, I might be wrong, maybe some of them do, but I doubt it. There were so many wild hearts who felt misunderstood, judged and worried. I wondered if there was a better way to reach them all. How could I create that magical connection and empower them without physically being there? So it's like, how could I clone myself? I did clone myself for a while. My sister, who's a teacher, she took on my workshops for me and that worked really well. But then she left and got another job at a school. She did that while my niece was little. So remember my love languages words? Yes, those words. People magically expand in love. Its transformational energy can be felt no matter how near or far. So what started with voice recordings of exercises and pep talks to inspire and motivate clients between their weekly sessions organically grew into Truly Madly Smiley, a pocket guide to life that makes growing up easier. So that's what I've done. I've taken all of those conversations and things that I would send to kids in between sessions. We've got a pretty big toolbox. That sounds like I'm showing off. There's 75 episodes on there. And I was talking to a mum this morning and she was saying, well, I don't know which episode we need to listen to. And I said, well, it's not a fix-it approach. Like if your child is struggling with something relational or emotional, they need to learn a whole new language. They need to meet their emotional selves, and they need to learn a whole new language. So whilst they can cherry pick the episodes they like, I always say to the kids, which one do you fancy? Which one are you drawn to? It is a case of just listening over time. And the mum did say, well, that's right, because I'm learning a lot from you. And I'm thinking, I'm hearing you say stuff and I'm thinking, oh, right, okay. All right, I'm fixing, right, I mustn't do that. So just from hanging out with me, so it's a bit like when you've got a song on the radio in the background, isn't it? And it keeps coming on, and every time you cook the dinner, the same song is on. And then you get in the car one day and you switch it on and you find yourself knowing all the words to that song. It happens organically, it happens over time. So 10 years of powerful words exchanged in my coaching sessions are now available for all children to enjoy. From the comfort of their bedrooms, classrooms, or when travelling to school. There's a great episode 9, the one with the best day ever. If you struggle to get your kids to school, that's the one you need to listen to in the car on the way to school. Each inspirational episode beams straight to their wild hearts. We don't really educate the emotional self at school, but we really need to. We can't learn unless we are connected to the emotional self and we feel emotionally safe. I've said that already today. I'm going to keep saying that until people get it, because it's crazy sending them back to school out into all of that chaos out there and expecting them to just sit there and listen and be good kids. Who knows what's going on inside their little bodies? Who knows? Truly Madly Smiley is a fun, engaging self-development powerhouse that's growing self-esteem, self-belief, and is literally changing lives. It is. A little boy said to me the other day on a call, it's like magic. He said, I've been speaking to him for about probably 12 weeks, so 3 months. And he said, I woke up today and I just didn't feel like that anymore. And that's how it happens. But it's us as adults that are constantly going, which episode is it? Why isn't it working? It's almost like when you put seeds in the soil, you plant your sunflowers and you water them and you give them light. You don't keep going back to the seeds and going like this in the ground and saying, oh, are they growing yet? You have to trust. So if you find it hard to trust and let go, that's another thing that you could take to a therapist and explore. because it's hard for you not to be in control. And that will go back to your upbringing. That will go back to your upbringing where perhaps you were made to feel responsible for another adult's feelings. Perhaps you grew up in chaos. Perhaps you were overly responsible and you felt like you had to be in control. So what I've realised about my ideal customer is that they are very unlikely to just go onto my website and have the confidence to just buy something and try it. Some people do, but most people do that because they know me, someone else has told them to do it, or they've heard me do something like this and I've given them the encouragement and the permission. Don't wait. Don't wait. Just try it. What have you got to lose? So I realised that people need a lot more hand-holding than I thought. I think sometimes when we are in survival mode and we're panicking ourselves, we can't see the woods for the trees, and so we can't see for looking. But if we just sat down and had a cup of tea and took a deep breath in and just read the words on the page and just took a moment, we wouldn't be so overwhelmed. But a lot of the time when we're in survival mode, we're overwhelmed. And then what we do is we just put that off. And actually, it was quite interesting this morning. I was talking to this mum and she was saying, well, they're all right for a few days and then it happens again. Well, of course they're all right because they have to be all right at school. They mask up to go to school. They've got to sit there and listen and be good or they get into trouble. But then over a few days, so whilst they appear to be okay, they're stuffing, holding on to all those feelings. And then a few days later, you get another meltdown. It doesn't go away. And, when people say, oh, it's just a phase and it's just something they're going through. No, if you keep going through the same cycles, the same patterns, there's something that needs looking at. And you've got to take responsibility and look at it. Don't push it away or be in denial or hope it will go away or hope someone will come and rescue you or hope the sun will come out and it will change. It only changes when you do. I've done it myself, so I know. Oh, it'll be all right. Oh, no, it's not okay. And that's when we have to get radically honest with ourselves. So this new package is for under 10s. I stopped coaching under 10s because really, when it's under 10s, it isn't the under 10s that need the help. It's the parents. It's the parents that are emotionally dysregulated, and therefore it just impacts the children. Sometimes they're not always aware that they are. It's no one's fault. I'm not blaming anyone. We all get emotionally dysregulated. So this package is just really to give you some direction, to set you some goals, and to know that I'm there in the background hand-holding you to give you the confidence to do it. So you just go to the website and select Work With Me, go to Under 9s, select Wild Heart VIP monthly membership, and you book and pay. Then you get a link from me and you'll get access to my diary and you can choose a session. And the first session is 50 minutes and it's for you and your child, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about what's going on. And really that's my time to build rapport with you and to work out what you need. So I'll take lots of notes and then I'll email you with a plan and I'll tell you what you need. So I'll tell you need to listen to this episode, you need to do this 3 times a day, like a doctor would. I'll write you out a prescription and say this is what you need. And I'll get your child all motivated and set up to listen. And then you will do that for the month. And then at the end of the month, you come back in, you have a 30-minute check-in session. So you also get a 40-page printable journal. Now, even though there are 75 episodes and 40 pages of printable journal, you don't need to do it all. You don't need to know it all, do it all, be it all. You just take one day at a time and you just put one foot in front of the other. That's how you make change. You go, what am I doing today? What am I doing today? If you sit there and say, oh my God, that you're in survival mode when you're doing that. You are in survival mode. And one of the ways that you know you're in survival mode is that you're in fear. So what you do is you what if, your thoughts start with what if, and you catastrophize. So you go from being, oh my God, I can't get my child to school, to what if they end up committing suicide or being a heroin addict in a Borstal pretty quickly. That's you projecting your fear onto a situation that feels out of control. So that's when you get emotionally dysregulated. And to be honest with you, if you are emotionally dysregulated, not just now, but a lot of the time, kids are triggering. But if something keeps happening between you and your child and you keep getting triggered and you are not going to therapy and looking at that, that's where your point of power is. You've got to regulate yourself because you can't co-regulate with your child. So co-regulation is when if you're up here and you bring yourself down, just by breathing and holding your child close, you co-regulate, you bring them down to be with you. Which is, we do that when they're babies, but we need to keep doing that throughout. And they probably will need that more right now. So that's how I can help for under 10s. I'm not going to offer that package long term. I'm doing it now because of COVID, and I'm doing it now because I'm getting demand for it. So demand is high. I've sold quite a lot of those packages for May. I've still got some spots left if you'd like to join. I think you'll find that actually it's quite enjoyable. I think you'll be surprised that your kids like it and how they respond to it. So I hear feedback from parents saying things like, oh, they were telling me the other day that, they've started doing this at night time, or, give them responsibility for their healing. You don't have to do it all for them. And actually, if you keep doing it all for them, then you're getting in their way. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to fix it. I have to tell myself this on a regular basis. I don't know if anyone's got any questions. If you have, pop them in the comments below. But really, all of those episodes in Truly Madly Smiley are absolute gold from my coaching room. They are things that I've told clients repeatedly over the last 10, 11 years. They are things that I know that children need to hear to regulate their feelings. I know what they need to hear. And they work. And sometimes when you explain something to someone who's dysregulated, when you give them clarity about what's going on in their body and, they're not being taken over by the demons of the apocalypse, and that they have some agency and control over that, and you explain to them what's happening and why their body's doing that. Often our body is just trying to soothe itself. We're trying to regulate our emotions. If we haven't been taught, we'll do it in maladaptive ways. We'll have funny coping strategies like eating and scrolling and smoking and drinking. Yeah. So I just wanted to tell you that. I also want to tell you that if you don't want the VIP option, that you can just sign up and start listening as a member. There's a special offer on at the moment. You can get £10 off until the end of May. And then the price will be going up again because the content is expanding. And let's just talk about some of the content that we've got on there at the moment that might be helpful to you, because that's what everyone seems to want to know. An episode just dropped this morning, the one with the angry dragon. So that is a lovely one. I also posted about anger, and that got like 4 shares and 700 views. I'm just keeping my eye on what you're looking at, because you don't talk to me. I have to be a detective and guess. It's great fun. It makes my job really easy. Passive aggressive sarcasm. It'd be great if you could talk to me more. That would really help. So angry dragon, perhaps I need to go into my angry dragon, meet my angry dragon in the cave and say, why are you so passive aggressive, Smiley? Anger is sadness's bodyguard. So I'm actually sad that people don't want to talk to me. That's what it is. There you go, I'm owning that. So the angry dragon, today we're going to venture into your cave where your anger lives and have a chat with it. We're going to find out exactly what's going on for you so you can feel more at peace in your body. You'll be so glad you did. So all of our feelings are just messengers. They just want to tell us something. And then we had the one with the worry controller. So we got the kids to draw a remote control for their mind. The one with the smiley spring clean. So this was a really good one. This was an energy clearing exercise. This is about clearing their emotional, energetic boundaries. So we have energetic boundaries. So sensitive children pick up other people's feelings, or they can take the emotional temperature in the room. So this spring clean was about cutting all those energetic cords, we call them, and clearing the space. It was a fun one. It was fun for the kids, but it's quite an important thing to learn. And then we went into the big voice bathroom. So I was using the vagus nerve. So your vagus nerve is activated by your voice, and that calms down your nervous system. So like humming, happy birthday, gargling when you clean your teeth, that kind of thing. And I did it in my bathroom, so it was all echoey. Got lots of reverb on it, made it fun, stood in front of the mirror. And then I did 10 days of that. So I did them like a little 10 days of Smiley Self talk, it's called, where I got them talking to themselves in the mirror and, you know, talking to themselves like they would talk to a friend, offering themselves some self-compassion, empowering themselves, reminding themselves that they have some control and agency over their thoughts and feelings. And again, when you're learning, when you're doing emotional resilience training, it's like when you go to the gym and do sit-ups. You don't just listen to one episode and go, done it, got a six-pack. You have to go to the gym every day and do those reps. And what happens is people are going, oh, I don't want to do the reps. No. Well, do you want to walk around being depressed, anxious, emotionally dysregulated, stressed? Because eventually it will affect your physical body and your body will cave in. I mean, it might take some time. It might not reach you till adulthood if you've developed all those maladaptive coping mechanisms. So there's lots of episodes on there. And then coming up in the summer, so I've got a really lovely schedule for you in the summer. This summer we're learning how to feel our feelings. Yes, because not many people know how to do that. We're going to be talking about them, and talking about them and thinking about them is not the same as feeling them. You need to be in your body. And the thing is that trauma is held in our body. So we've got to go into the body and revisit that. We'll be taking a trip to the ice cream parlour to test out our decision-making skills again. I've already done an episode on decision-making skills. We'll be diving into the stars, and I'm going to help you work out what was happening in the sky when you were born. So we're going to be looking at our horoscopes, which is quite a fun thing to do. Really, it's all about helping children identify and work out who they are. I'm going to be teaching you how to do automatic writing. So if you love to journal or keep a diary and you want to know what your heart is desperate for you to hear, or what you might be holding inside, then you will love that. I call that soul scribbles or heart art. And then I'll be taking you on a trip to the beach to meet your beach bestie, a special friend who's always there for you if you feel sad or lonely. I mean, there's just so much going on. So I probably make about 2 episodes a month. And I make them based on, well, it's quite intuitive actually. It's based on what people are bringing to me and what I'm hearing from my private clients. So, you know, they'll be my eyes and ears and tell me. It would be lovely if people on this page could be my eyes and ears and say, Smiley, we're really struggling with this right now. I wanted to kind of get this feedback loop, because then I can go, well, I'll make you an episode for that. And then you can sign up and go and listen to it. But you need to start somewhere. You need to start listening. Now, if you are a self-doubter, tomorrow in my Champions Facebook group, I am doing a short talk. It will only be about half an hour, and then I'll take your questions on understanding self-doubt. And also, while I'm here, I wanted to remind you that the early bird offer for the Teens Unplug retreat, so you can get £20 off if you type in unplug at the checkout. That ends on May the 2nd, which is Sunday. So yes. And we're coming up to a bank holiday weekend, aren't we? Oh, my soup's gone cold now. So I hope you've got some nice plans, because we're allowed out now, aren't we? We're allowed out. What are you doing? Have you got nice plans? I'm just going to pull us a card for the end of the month. If you're on my list, on my part of my newsletter list, I sent out a roundup for April last night at about 10 o'clock. So if it's not in your inbox, check your junk, because sometimes I fall in there. So at the end of the month, I'm trying to sort of give you a roundup of all the things that I'm talking on and working on. But I think next month the key is working on emotional regulation, and that starts with being aware that we even have feelings. You know, if you find yourself losing it on a regular basis, that is a sign that you are not in touch with your feelings. And your emotional backpack is full and then the lid is blowing off. There you go. Oh, it's upside down though. So look, it's transformation. Personal transformation, which actually we've just had a full moon in Scorpio, and Scorpio is all about bringing the unconscious into the conscious. So bringing stuff out from the darkness into the light for us to examine. How the tadpole becomes the frog, but it's upside down. So do you feel stuck? Let me just see what's on the bottom of the deck. Oh. Yeah. Bottom of the deck, emotional release. What was I just saying? And actually, above that is beauty upside down, so ugly. So actually, maybe we don't want to look. Maybe we don't want to look at the ickiness of everything. But there is an emotional release there. There's a grieving process there. If we look at how the world is now compared to how it was, there is grief there. We need to release. Look at her holding her arms up and releasing. Yes, so we're stuck. We're stuck in our personal transformation. We're stuck. We feel stuck. We don't know where we're going. So, I wrote a book about that. You know my little book, Stuck Between Two Worlds? Yeah. When you feel stuck, it's usually because you're afraid. You're very afraid, and it's a mindset, really. You forget that you have choices. You forget that you have agency and sovereignty. You forget that you're in charge of your thoughts and feelings. And you forget that you must take responsibility. But when you're stuck, it's very passive, isn't it? Stuck energy. It's like you're waiting for something to happen, or you're waiting for someone to come along and save you. Will you be waiting a long time? No one's coming to save you. Sorry. It's not how it works. Yeah. I think also when we're stuck in our transformation, we're in denial. We're in denial about how shit everything is. We don't want to look at that. So that keeps you stuck. If you're in denial and you pretend it's not happening, then you're going to stay stuck where you are, aren't you? And denial it's just a defense mechanism. It's a way that we protect ourselves from pain. Grief. We need to grieve. We've just been through a huge change. And it's funny, I was thinking the other day when I was out for a walk, I was thinking, my God, this has been happening for over a year. And yet it feels like I've lost a year of my life, because I feel stuck. Like I feel like things haven't moved on and gone in the direction or as quickly as I wanted them to be. I'm not very patient anyway, are you? Are you patient? Want it all yesterday. Why? Because it's really uncomfortable to sit in this energy of uncertainty and not knowing. So if I could have it all now, then I wouldn't have to feel any of these feelings. Well, of course I would, because I would still have feelings. So when we want to fix stuff and we want stuff now, we're looking for instant gratification. It's because we have got a lot of feelings that we're uncomfortable sitting with. So please do go to the website, and if you look at, there is a tab for Truly Madly Smiley, but there's also a tab for the under nines, which is the VIP package. There is a tab for the teens retreat called Unplugged. And if you go to the Truly Madly Smiley tab, you can listen to some episodes for free, so you can get a vibe, a feel for it. Listen to it with your kids and see how they respond to it. They might surprise you. Don't you listen to it and then go no. because it's not you. Remember, you are not your child. And whilst you probably know your child really well, it would be nice to give them the opportunity to listen and work out if that's what they needed for themselves, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to give them the choice. Okay, my lovelies. Well, questions in the comments below, or drop me a message if you feel like you can't comment on here. But I'm wishing you all a lovely bank holiday weekend, and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you really soon. Bye for now.